Well, today we have Southern Illinois coach Jen Sewell, who joins us, first-year coach, taking over from longtime coach Carrie Blaylock, who has stepped aside for health reasons. And first year at the helm, you're about 3/4 of the way through the season. So we talked earlier this season, but so now we're getting near the end. How are you settling in, and how are things going in that transition?
It's been really good. I think we talked about that earlier. Just, Carrie is a mentor to a lot of us. And when you come on her staff, you are expected to hold a lot of roles. And she's certainly not going to do it for you. So you are accountable to the highest level. And I think she's always prepping us for what may come. And, she expects a lot of her assistants to move on, and she has. She's had some great assistants move on to head coaching positions. And some of us like me want to stay. They love being assistants here, and Southern's treated us really well, but it's been good. It's definitely a transition in time, how I spend my day, but as long as I get to spend time at the practice field, which is what I absolutely love, and with the team, it's been great. So.
Well, you make that move, or in basketball, we say you move one seat over. I think in softball, you move one bucket over to sit into that head spot right there on the dugout step. What has been maybe the biggest surprise for you as a head coach that, maybe as an assistant, you didn't realize that Carrie was handling behind the scenes that you're now having to handle?
Yeah, and I think probably the not so much a surprise, but probably time and energy spent is just player relationships as a whole, finding out what their whole day has been like, what their whole night, what their weekend has been. She is and was incredible at that. And, she could just bring players in, talk them through their day. How are you? How's mom and dad? Those types of things, where Kenzie and I were very focused on pitching and hitting, right? And for me, hitting and defense. And didn't always have the time to sit with players and just really ask them how they were. And I think it's been a real joy for me just to sit and talk to kids and say, tell me what's going on. Where are you? How's grandma? How's grandpa? Not just to talk X's and O's. I think, when you're in a scout format, the conversations tend to be like, hey, we got to make this adjustment. We've got to be here. We need to throw this pitch here. But our conversations have been about players and building our relationships. And I've really enjoyed that part. I have to make time for it because Carrie was always thinking about the program as a whole and how every variable affected our day. So, and I've really enjoyed just sitting with them and just talking day to day.
Yeah, it is kind of fun to get to know your players a little bit off of the field and what goes on during their day.
Yeah, we don't just talk about hitting. We don't just talk about pitching. We talk about everything. So.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. And you just mentioned hitting. So your team is a pretty good offensive producing team. And one of the things in looking at statistics with your team, 9th nationally in walks.
Yes.
And that takes a lot of discipline at the plate. And so what's the philosophy that you're teaching the players when they step to the plate, and what are they looking for to try to be that patient?
We really start from day one when they step on campus here. A lot of players at the high school and travel ball level have to be hackers because the strike zones aren't maybe as strict. So you really have to go to the plate, hitting the first good thing you see. At the Division I level, the officiating has really been good. It has matched the talent that is there offensively. And we really want to be careful about hitting pitches that aren't ours. So a lot of times you'll see us maybe upset the crowd or upset mom and dad by striking out looking, maybe the first time through, but what we're doing is gauging the strike zone, gauging the pitches, and we're taking, we want to have a memory for each pitch, where it is it hittable? Can I drive it? Can I do damage with it? And then we're sort of taking inventory about what's a ball, what's a strike, what do you have, what's working that day. And then sort of the second, third, and fourth time through, you'll really see us start to jump on what we want and start to probably in the line scoring, you'll see that second time through, the third, fourth, fifth inning on, really start to score runs. And then that gets passed down through the lineup card. That information goes from 1 to 9 and then turns itself over eventually, obviously. So we really want hitters to know what is a strike, what is a ball, what is working, and then how do we manage that throughout the game, and does it change? And it shows up in the walk column, and it shows up in the on base column a lot. And, we talk to hitters a lot about batting average isn't everything. You can get a ton of 2-out hits with nobody on and not produce runs for your team. And now with analytics and all that's come into the game, we have that number. So we know how many runs that you contribute as an individual in each game. So.
Well, one of those players that really has contributed in a big way, Jenny Jansen, leads team in walks, on base percentage, and top 10 in the Valley, and a lot of other offensive statistical categories. What is her presence in the lineup mean for you guys?
Well, I tell you what she is, and this is from Carrie Blaylock day one, is she's the culture. She is what we are. And she's an incredible human being, first of all, and it shows up in her play. It shows up in her consistency. It shows up in her maturity, all those things. And when we ask players to come here and play within the culture, we're looking at people like Jenny Jansen. And she's a consistent, calm, helpful, kind human being. She would walk your dog. She would take your grandma to the grocery store. She has an incredible family system around her, a support system, and she's constantly thinking about everyone else. So when she goes to the plate, a lot of times, she will oftentimes almost shy away from some of the things, the accolades that come with her abilities and talents. Very under-recruited. Probably should have been maybe at a Power 5 that fits perfectly at the high mid-major level, where she can, she has a lot of time for things off the field, and she's student taught, already has a job, going back to her hometown to teach, and it's just an all-around package type player. It's who you want your daughter to grow up emulating. So, and it shows up in her stats, and she would be embarrassed for us to talk about her. She's that humble of a kid. That just, if you could get 100 of her, you would take all 100. So.
Well, another way to get on base and raise that on base percentage, and I think you know where I'm going, getting hit by pitches. And Sydney Sykes leads the nation in getting clunked. 20 times she's been hit by pitches. So how does that happen to, like, one individual player? How does she fit into that category?
It's funny because she's a tiny kid, in a very strong kid in a very tiny package. And she's just not going to get out of the way. If you meet her, that's her mentality. And I think that's the old catcher mentality as well. We joke about there's pitchers and there's catchers, there's outfielders and there's infielders. But me being an old catcher, I just love that she has taken ball after ball after ball. And the funniest part is she doesn't crowd the plate. So I think she has a presence about her that if you miss inside, things are going to get hit hard, but you can't go too far inside because she's not going to get out of the way. And to watch her take some of the balls she's taken lately with the gear on, sometimes I ask her, Sid, is enough? Do you need a couple inning break? And she says to me every time, Coach, I want to go till the end. I'm here until you tell me we're done. So.
Well, we're winding down. We're heading to the conference tournament. You guys seem to be on a roll, so we are looking forward to heading into Springfield and see what the conference tournament's going to be like. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks in Springfield.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.